On the economy, we target a GDP not less than 6% growth. I have a message for our investors, local and foreign. Our government shall review all the complaints about multiple taxation. And review various anti-investment inhibitions.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. I'm Chamaka Ohauchi. It's a new dawn. We begin by congratulating the President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his assumption of office as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. We share in the belief of Nigerians that this is the beginning of a new dawn. We also want to congratulate the children of Nigeria, the leaders of tomorrow, on the occasion of the 2023 Children's Day, which we marked on Saturday, the 27th of May. As we have done in all the episodes that we have aired in the build-up to this new beginning, we have maintained, and quite rightly so, that government, anywhere in the world, depends largely on tax revenue for the funding of the provision of critical amenities and maintenance of law and order. On this episode, we are bringing our viewers the last installment, yes, Part 4 of the documentary on Nigeria's economic diversification, tax revenue as a key factor.
Implementation strategies, ease of doing business.
The ease of doing business initiative, which was introduced by the Office of Vice President, I think since 2017, has made some significant contribution to stabilizing the business environment and to definitely improving the ease of doing business in the country. You will recall sometime around 2015, Nigeria was number 170 out of 190 countries. Since then, we have moved up consistently, and I think as at 2020, we are now number 131. So yes, the ease of doing business has helped to move us on the ease of doing business ranking, which is set up by the World Bank.
Investors still prefer to go to all these customary landholders to access their land, but because they want to invest so much money, no financial institution will go and give you some amount of money for unprotected title. They are not protected. So what I would suggest that probably perfection of land, especially for agricultural purposes, if possible, should be made free. If you actually realize the fact that it's going to be used for agricultural purposes, and there's evidence to show that this is for agricultural purposes, perfection of that should be done easily and it should be made free.
One of the major failures of governance in this country is our failure to address the issue of mass transit. And it has created a whole lot of urbanization problems. If you go to some other countries where things are much more structured, you can live as far away as Ibadan and be working in Lagos. You don't have to be struggling to live in the city. That is one. Secondly, you don't have to be struggling to be putting your vehicle on the road. Look at the stress even in Lagos alone.
Statistics say that we are 41.5 million MSMEs. But the trouble is that out of these 41.5, 41.4 are micro, unbanked. Of course, it's a tax now for government to bring them in, probably even into tax net, so that they can add value.
We are beginning to operate in an informal economy, more of the informal economy. I would like to suggest a situation where government could target that group, formalize the informal sector, engage the informal sector, the small players, and meet them as a group.
Government has recognized the fact that ICT is a growing sector and is very popular among the youth. You realize that the name of the ministry was changed to Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. Recently at the Federal Executive Council, we have approved of an ICT park in Abuja here, which will be the first of many that will come up all over the Federation. This is going to be a center, like an incubator for people that have ideas. They can be groomed and, of course, mentored there. You can see a few feats performed by Nigerians. They've developed an app and it's been bought for so many millions of dollars and all that. So it tells us that that's another sector that we should focus on.
Seed money, venture capital, that's a type of financing that is available to startups. So startups are different from normal small businesses in the fact that they are enabled by technology, which gives them the potential for high growth, very high and fast exponential growth. So while a small business may go from 0 to 1 to 2, a startup can go from 0 to 100 to 2,000 to 1 million. So because of that very high growth and very fast growth, a lot of times they need capital, money, to enable that fast growth. Because of how risky it is, there's no guarantee that they just believe that this startup is going to grow fast. So there's no guarantee for that. So in exchange for bearing that risk, they get equity, a share of the company. Most of the funds that come to Nigerian startups come from abroad. So for example, in 2019, about 147 Nigerian startups raised a total of over $370 million. And 95% came from foreign sources. Less than 5% came from investors within Nigeria. Most of these foreign investors, one of the conditions they always give to put money in this Nigerian startups is they require, let me not say force, they require them to incorporate in their country of origin, so mostly the US. And the way they register in the US, they are called Delaware Corporation. So Delaware is a state in the United States that has a very, very interesting interesting regulations and law around setting up a company, where you can set up a company in Delaware without having to run the company from Delaware. You can also give privacy to the investors, so they don't want people to know that I invested in this company. So first of all, because of that condition, before they collect this money, they must incorporate. You find that many of them are both companies incorporated in the US and in Nigeria. So meanwhile, being incorporated in the US, they are going to pay what they call franchise tax in the Delaware corporation, because Delaware does not actually charge any corporate tax on companies registered, and they don't require it to be there, but they have what they call a franchise tax, which you pay every year, and some charges. So they paid that. And then the second thing is, now when you say, okay, 90% of investors or 90% of the amount coming from investors is from foreign sources, then it means that shareholders in those companies are mostly foreigners. So what happens because the way startups are primed, they are primed for what we call exits. So after that fast growth, those people that have put the money and said, okay, we believe you are going to grow fast, and in 5 years we hope that you are going to grow so fast that this small percentage I had in your company is going to become, maybe I put $10,000, I'll end up having $1 million. You now start asking, is the company really a Nigerian company or is it a foreign company? So those are kind of the implications, and you can start talking about what that means for even taxation and all of that. You have more people being foreigners that have equity in those startups. When those startups exit, which is whether they go on the stock exchange, IPO, or they are sold like Pestac was sold, these people take the money and take it back to their country. If there's better regulation, then local investors will feel more confident to put their money in this startup.
The cost of electricity, which of course is the first major input to manufacturing, is very high in Nigeria. And not only the cost is high, but the supply of electricity is poor, both in terms of the quantum of electricity you are able to receive over a period of time, as well as the quality of that electricity. And this is something that the manufacturing sector has been arguing with the government for a long time, that government must continue to make electricity more affordable, to make it more, to improve the quality of supply, and to improve the availability of electricity.
How can we get Nigerians to pay taxes voluntarily?
The first thing is we need to share more of what is being done with their tax money. And there's a lot being done. But the notion is that almost all the money we get is from oil. So when you say anything development, you believe it is oil. In reality, it's not. Once we can show people that there's gain and benefit for them from the tax that's being collected, their willingness to pay increases.
There must be, attitudinal change. How? Through taxpayer education. Education the taxpayers to know the importance of taxation and their responsibilities. 2 is leveraging on technology. Once if you introduce technology to take charge of all taxes, and eliminate cash collection, then there will be transparency within the system.
So what we intend to do going forward, what we've been doing, is to do a lot of advocacy, stakeholders engagement, collaboration with the taxpayers to make them see reasons why they have to pay these taxes. And this is simply in order to enrich the social contract between the state and the public.
A lot of people are discouraged because they see accountability not being implemented in word and in deed. So we need to pay emphasis on accountability. You collect tax, how is it being spent? 2, resource utilization. Let's look at another angle. Are we looking at our people as an asset or a liability? Now, if we are considered asset, then the question is, everybody you see has the potential to contribute to the tax revenue.
One way that government can do this is to build trust amongst our people. And government has already taken a leap in that direction. The Nigerian government, through the president, has joined the Open Government Partnership, which is the kind of arrangement that is put in place with Open Government Partnership is the government and the public. So in OGP, you find that there are 2 chairs. There's a private, that's the public co-chair, and then the government co-chair. And it's all about ensuring that there's transparency and citizens' participation and engagement in the activities of government.
We need to do more in terms of creating harmony among the peoples of Nigeria. That is lacking. Once we continue to retract our small cocoons, then we can't become global champions. Once we do that, we must also align the thoughts and the wishes of the people. It may be difficult. If you ask me to say and be specific about it, we are spending too much time talking about infrastructure. Whereas we need to spend too much time talking about those people who are beneficiaries or who will benefit from the infrastructure.
Tax payment is about process. You need to get the right processes. You need to know your taxpayers, which I'm aware, and I know that the FRS is doing great work trying to get a register of taxpayers. That's the first step. The second step is to build trust of your taxpayers, for them to believe that when they pay their taxes, it will be put into good use. There are a number of concerns around Nigerians that if you even pay the tax, who is going to utilize it, it will be misused. In the last 3 to 4 years, we have seen growing responsibility of government, particularly in the current dispensation.
We are now emphasizing indirect tax. The phone calls you made before you came here, you pay taxes you didn't know. So if that is what Nigerians understand, we will go that way. But what we're going to do is to deploy technology that the MTN or the service provider that you use is on network for communication, of which you are paid that indirect taxes, will collect that tax that you didn't know that you have paid through them. So we are going to emphasize on indirect tax, and that's why we keep saying every opportunity we have to talk, because it is easier to collect. The burden are not felt by the person who is paying, and as far as I'm concerned, you get a lot more from it than the direct taxes. We have our own plans by now having a department called Servicom, who deals directly with the taxpayer, which is our own customer and the king in any business. And then we have taxpayer services department, who would also deal in taxpayer education. So we align with the foundation, with the capacity buildings we are doing, with the interactions and engagement we are having with critical stakeholders, and with the collaborations too that we are having with other agencies of government and professional bodies. We will be able to get there.
This concludes the 4-part serial, and we want to inform you that the full documentary is on our YouTube channel. May 27 is Children's Day in Nigeria, a day set aside to celebrate the leaders of tomorrow. On Tuesday, the 21st of March 2023, the CITN held the 3rd edition of the Lagos State Secondary School Quiz Competition, and we did show highlights of that event at that time with a promise that it would be used to celebrate 2023 Children's Day. The occasion was witnessed by a distinguished adult audience, obviously out to celebrate the young ones, including the president of the CITN, the immediate past president, representative of the State Minister of Education, chairman of CITN district societies, and council members and chairman. There were 3 rounds in all, and because of time constraints, we will serve you excerpts. Without much ado, we go straight to the business of the day. Mr. Kunle Orimejuba was the quiz master.
Questions 1 to 80. You are at liberty to pick any number. Students, are you ready? Yes. So Akinkowo Daniel, pick a question. Question 4. Under which law in Nigeria is the amount of tax to be paid on income by individuals determined? A. Personal Income Tax Act as amended. B. The Nigerian Labor Law as amended. C. Individuals Income Tax Act as amended. D. Employees Income Tax Act as amended.
A. Personal Income Tax Act as amended.
A is the correct answer. 5. Company ABC Limited was assessed a tax liability of 60,000 naira on the profit made in its business for the year ended 31st December 2019. When is the latest due date for payments of the tax liability to the government? A. 31st December 2019. B. 31st December 2020. C. 31st March 2020. D. 30th June 2020.
A. 31st December 20.
Correct answer is option D. New Era Girls Senior Secondary School.
Number 1.
A company, John PLC, has a net profit of 100 million naira for the year 2021. How much will it pay as company income tax for the fiscal year ended 31st December 2022? A. 60 million. B. 31 million. C. 30 million. D. 45 million.
C. 30 million.
Correct answer.
After giving each of the 6 contestants the opportunity to participate in the first round, the competition swiftly moved into round 2.
Modesta Ezinni.
40.
Which of the following relates to tax system? A. Tax law and tax policy. B. Tax administration and tax law. C. Tax law, tax policy, and tax administration. D. Tax policy and tax law.
C. Tax law, tax policy, and tax administration.
The correct answer.
35.
Tariffs on imports are meant to dash: A. Prevent a country from becoming a dumping ground for foreign goods. B. Discourage exports. C. Encourage exports. D. Increase the level of external dependency.
D. Increase the level of external dependency.
D is wrong. Correct answer is A.
32.
The famous economist who first developed the principle of taxation, usually referred to as the canons of taxation, is A. Luca Pacioli, B. John Legend, C. John Smith, D. Adam Smith.
D. Adam Smith.
Correct answer.
And then the final round.
Question 48. Which of the following best describes progressive taxes? A. The higher the income, the lower the tax paid. B. The tax payable is proportional to the taxpayer's income. C. The higher the income, the more benefits are given to the taxpayer. D. This applies higher tax rates as income increases. D. D is the correct answer.
51.
What is the rate of value-added tax on consumptions and purchases in Nigeria? A. 10%, B. 7.5%, C. 2.5%, D. 7%.
B. 7.5%.
55.
Taxpayers deliberately misrepresenting the true state of their affairs to the tax authorities to reduce their tax liability and include dishonest tax reporting is known as A. Artificial transactions, B. Tax avoidance, C. Tax evasion, D. Tax justice.
B. Tax avoidance.
Wrong answer. The correct answer is tax evasion.
Question 54.
A tax deducted at source from payments made to a taxable person for supply of goods and services is called A. Company's income tax, B. Capital gains tax, C. Withholding tax, D. Ad valorem tax.
C. Withholding tax.
That's correct answer.
At the end of round 1, a scorecard was presented, and at the end of round 2, a scorecard was presented, and at the end of round 3, a scorecard was presented.
The result for the first, second, and the third round, Odushino similarly had a total of 25 points. Akinkuowo Daniel had a combined total of 40 points. Oriola Ayomide had a total of 35 points. Okeke Rita had a total of 45 points. Wazupo Modesta had a total of 25 points. And Ogumbi Florence had a total of 35 points.
That placed Okeke Rita with 45 points in the number 1 position. Akinkuowo Daniel with 40 points in the second position. Ogumbiyi Florence and Oriola Ayomide with 35 points tying for the third position. And so, a tiebreaker was organized. At the end of the tiebreaker, Ogumbiyi Florence emerged as the third place winner in the third edition of the Lagos State Secondary School Quiz Competition. The winners were presented with their prizes. Earlier at the opening ceremony, the Chairman Student Affairs and Tertiary Education Relations Committee, Dr. Titilayo Fowoko, and the President gave the rationale for the event.
This is part of the Catch Them Young program of the Institute. The first edition of the competition that we are doing today took place in Port Harcourt, Rivers State in 2021. The second edition took place in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State last year, 2022. Having conducted the competition in the South-South region, our sole sponsor, Professor Eden Williams, deemed it fit to move this to the Southwest region and magnanimously agreed that it should be held in Lagos. We had 672 students that went into the competition for the first stage. We have 172 male and 500 female. Today, we have our 6 finalists.
The relevance of this event is the fact that we have gone beyond just focusing at the higher level. We have gotten to the level of secondary school. So when I see the level of knowledge being displayed at secondary school level about tax matters, I am encouraged. And I think Professor Williams is even more than encouraged, up to the level of even putting his finance behind it. Now, the other thing I just want to assure you again is the commitment of CITN. We are committing as a matter of policy to this program to ensure that the whole of Nigeria embrace this gospel of tax evangelism at secondary school level.
Kudos to the CITN. Kudos to Professor Ezekiel Eden Williams, sponsor of the event. It is a new dawn in Nigeria with a new president in office, and we believe things are going to get more interesting in the taxation kingdom. See you next week.